So growing your back in 2025 is definitely a little bit different than it was in previous years, or at least previous decades, in terms of what a lot of people think about, things that they do, things that they should be doing, things they should be avoiding. And I'm gonna give you guys the staples in as little time as possible so that you guys can get on with your training. So simpler thing that we're trying to think about right now is less sets, less total amount of volume you're actually taking, because again, you know, we used to live in a time where people literally spent their entire life pretty much, you know, doing a bunch of garbage junk volume, like just coming in here, working like, you know, 10 reps away from failure, nowhere even close, getting a little bit of a pump in their back and then stopping. And that's something that we nowadays pretty much, and in modern hypertrophy science, pretty much completely want to avoid. The main important thing with your back, like anything else, is that we're actually taking the back to failure. So wrist straps, doing something where you are externally stabilized, like this fixed pull down machine here, and finding a way to actually push yourself within a very close proximity of failure is the be all end all for back training. So you guys will notice that in terms of my total number of sets I'm doing for this back day, I've done 2 sets of a wide grip trap biased row, did 1 set of a Kelso shrug, so that's 3 sets for the traps, upper back, rear delts, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna do 1 set of lat pull downs here and 1 set of lat biased rows. That puts me at 5 total sets for the back for this upper day. And I'm gonna hit this day again in 48 to 72 hours, depending. I'll either do upper lower rest or upper lower rest. So this day is coming up again soon, 48 to 72 hours, and that's 5 total sets. So not a whole ton of volume here. Definitely not doing 0 volume, but definitely not a whole ton of volume either. So the things we're gonna be thinking about when training our lats is through 2 different ways. For the lower lats, the first thing we're doing is an iliac biased pull down. So this is hitting the iliac, the lower division of the lats. Best way to do this is through horizontal adduction or pulling the arm into the side of the body. And you want to do this through a very wide angle, because that will limit the amount of humeral elevation you're getting. The stretch at the top you want to limit, because once you stretch all the way up here, that's mostly chest and triceps that are getting involved. So if you watch how I perform this set, which you'll see here in a moment, the thing we're thinking about is actually focusing on that bottom range. We want this to get very hard and be very difficult in that bottom near the squeeze. So here we go. Come down and 255. Here we go. Okay, come down, walk in here, and here we go. Last one. And that's it. 5 really solid reps, very heavy, low rep range, close proximity to failure. So more things to think about when doing your back training nowadays is how you actually set up your programming. So at the beginning of the session, you guys saw we did a wide grip lat pull down for the lower division of the lats, because that part of the lats are responsible for adducting or pulling the arm into the side of the body. What we're doing now is something for the mid, the lumbar, and upper thoracic division of the lats right now, which is a narrow grip tucked row. This is the last thing you will need for the lats. You literally only need these 2 movements. The first movement, which you guys saw me do, is in the frontal plane, which means it comes out here. It's in this plane of motion. This is in the sagittal plane, or pulling from here. You guys might be familiar with the scapular plane, which is at about 30 degrees. It's where a lot of people do their lateral raises and things like that. So if you look at how I perform this, you'll notice that I'm pulling from in front of me. Now, when we set up here, the main goal right now is that we are limiting the amount of elbow bend we're getting. So for this kind of a row, you don't want to be bending your elbow a lot. You want to just make sure that you're tied in nice and tight. So we do both hands here at a time, save some time, be more efficient. Tie in and just focus on taking the scapula and depressing it, just lowering the scapula. So scapula elevation and depression. So you're going to take a little bit of toying around with it, figuring out where your sort of sweet spot is for that. It's not the most complicated thing in the world, but it's also not the simplest, because there are a lot of ways you could do this where you execute this and you end up just making it kind of a weird form of a curl. Definitely not something you want. So I like to, at least for this setup, try to bring the pad as high as possible. Maybe we could put this on 7. This feels pretty good. So if I come in, put the pad on 7, that seems pretty solid. Not the worst, not the best. That seems pretty good. Maybe we'll come a little bit closer. Like I do, maybe even put it on 5. So you're gonna mess around here, get comfortable, find a way to limit the amount of elbow bend that you're getting here. This seems pretty solid, and that looks very comfortable. So next thing we're gonna do is obviously load up our weight and focus on taking this to failure. In an upper lower split or a full body split where you're doing something high frequency, where you're hitting it a lot, you don't need to do a gazillion sets here each time. So for example, for this lat row, I'm literally doing 1 set today because I'm on an upper day. So I did 1 set of pull down and ready, did 1 set of this here, doing it right now. Then I did 2 sets of the wide grip trap rows, and I'll show you those in a minute in the Kelso shrugs. So I already did all those sets today. So I'm not worried about, you know, oh, how much volume am I doing? Definitely enough volume. So let's do our final warm up here. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Someone's gonna nitpick my form in the comments, but that's pretty solid. 245 here. Got the weight loaded up. We'll even throw on the gym pin here to make this about 250. Make this just a little bit heavier. Give me an extra 5 pounds here. 250 pounds here. Loaded up on these machines. And here we go. Okay, tying in, nice and tight. And here we go. Let's do it. Okay, and let's go. Okay. That was it. That's it. That's it. Maybe I had 1 rep in the tank, maybe 0, depending on how I did it, but that's it for the lat stuff for the day. And then earlier in the session, if you guys did not know what those looked like, I did a wide grip trap row where basically I came up here, went pretty wide, focused on pulling my shoulder blades together. So coming back and actually pulling the blades together like that. So that was what I did for 2 sets. And then I did 1 set of Kelso shrugs. So tying in here, get that neutral grip again. And literally all I was doing was here, just shrugging my traps, focusing on full retraction there of the scapula. So that was literally all I did volume-wise, and that's how you train back now in 2025. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, coaching down below, as well as a call link you can book down below on Calendly. So $60 for a 30-minute call. If it's something you decide to stay with, if you decide to stay with me for the first month, that credit from the call will go to your first month of coaching. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.